Hey there. Yes, here in Porto, Portugal, finally getting around to editing those videos of directors with their Q&As at the World Cinema Amsterdam Festival that took place August 21st to the 27th. I was fortunate enough to be able to interview three of the directors. This one's by Nabil Ayouch, and then a young woman named Julie June, I believe her last name is, from Korea, did an outstanding investigative drama. The first half of the movie played like a regular serious drama, and then it switched about an hour and a half into basically a detective story. Really well done, terrifying, kind of provocative. Heartfelt and provocative. So I'm here again in Porto, Portugal, but I'm just now getting around to editing those videos from a couple weeks ago because they're very long, and yeah, continue to do epic.
This is a very good question. I'll repeat it for the people in the back. How is the film received in Morocco? And has it already screened there?
Yeah, it has been screened in November, yeah.
Because for some context, you have made some films. Well, The Horses of God somehow wasn't the most controversial film you made. A film like Much Loved, which is about sex workers in Morocco, has been met with a lot of, let's say, controversy. You have been, in that sense, a quite controversial director in Morocco as well. So it's interesting to ask, how are people responding to this film right now?
Very well. I was amazed to see, yeah, because you never know, you know. When I was in Cannes Film Festival for Horses of God and Not Stop, every journalist that I met, foreign journalist, was telling me this film is never going to pass in Morocco. And I was like, yes, of course it's going to pass. What do you mean? And they were right about Not Stop. Yes, it's true that it was banned, but about this film, you never know, of course, how things are going to happen, especially with the social networks right now. It can go very fast. But I was happy to see some young people coming from the neighborhood, the periphery, how you say, around Casablanca, that places where they don't have cinemas, coming in the center of Casablanca to watch the film and to sing and to dance and to cry. It was a great moment. Yeah. See how he touched this.
There's a question over there.
Yes, I have a question more about the filming. I understand that the closeness of some of the shots were to, for me, to portray their oppressiveness, the way they were oppressed in their lives, perhaps. I just was curious about the choice for that one young woman who's like on the rooftop with the clothes hangers, and she was so tightly shot, and the other part of that is the very ending, where they're dancing sort of like they've been released, they're wild animals, and that's the feeling I got after he announces he's not going to be coming back, or this is the repercussions. Am I reading this correctly? Why did you film her so tightly when she's by herself on the roof?
It's an interesting question. I'll repeat it for the people in the back. It's a question about the cinematography of the film, mostly focused on certain shots, for instance, some very tight close-ups, and the person that asked the question is wondering, does it suggest a kind of oppression, a kind of closeness, a kind of like
confinement?
Confinement of the characters that eventually at the end has to burst free, right?
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing that in their life that they had to deal with is how to be themselves, how to say who they are to the rest of the world, including their family, actually. Right. And so they most of the time feel really much pressured by society, religion, families, or whatever. And when they arrive in that center, they can be really who they are, and they can be who they are through their art, you know.
Right.
And for me, it was very important that there is a wide picture and a very close picture of what they have to say, and especially when it becomes to express their inner feelings, you know, their private or privacy or
Yeah.
secrets, you know, that they never say. And that's why I decided on this film, especially that I would have two DOP, and those two DOP are both cameramen, very good cameramen. So I worked with them quite differently on those scenes with two cameras, and we were talking to each other, so I could tell them where I wanted them to be with the camera and so on, and that gives those scenes that we're talking about, and probably also those close-ups to be really, really with them when they say we are.
Okay.
You said that you spent like 3 years working on this film, and that at the beginning of the inception of the film, you were still wondering, should this be a documentary or not? The fact that there's also so many people that are kind of playing themselves or versions of themselves in the film, young people, very fragile people as well. Can you explain what were some of the differences between this experience of working on this film compared to previous films that you made that are maybe shot in a more conventional way, where you shoot it, you edit it, and you show it?
Oh, it's very easy. It's freedom. I mean, most of the films that I've done before cost much more money than this one. And
Also important.
yeah, no, it is, because when you have many partners, you have somehow a kind of pressure, because they want the film to be ready on time, because when it's ready, then they can deliver the film. And I decided that for this one, I would have less partners, I would have much more time and no pressure. So I told them at the very beginning, I know when it begins, I don't know when it's going to end. You have to accept it if you want to be part of this process. So they accepted it. And I began by showing, I asked Virginie Solej, my DOP from Belgium and Poland, to come for a week. We did some tests, we filmed, and then I decided to write a story, and then to shoot and to rewrite and re-edit, and this is what took time. And this is probably the best experience of my life as a director. Yeah, because I love to edit. I love to spend some time doing the editing room. Really, it's probably the best part of the process for me, to re-question the film, to rewrite the film. That's really the moment where you are the closest with your characters. You have the strongest relationship, because there is not someone, an assistant telling you,
we have to shoot now.
No, you can really understand and feel something that you sometimes didn't understand during the shooting. So I edited for like a year and a half,
It's fantastic, yeah, that's a luxury. Yeah, it's amazing. I'm looking at the audience if there's maybe a final question for Nabil Ayouch. See number in the back. Nobody. And pressing take the chance if you want.
Again, it has to do with the dancing. The five girls dancing down that alley. Was that other older woman? Was that an actress as well, or was that planned, or was that not planned?
The old lady?
Yeah.
No, she's not an actress.
I didn't think so. Yeah.
That's the problematic aspect of when we're shooting some scenes in a real environment, is that sometimes real people are coming, and
It was perfect. It was beautiful.
Yeah, except that afterwards we have to ask them permission, and she refused. So we had to go and see a family, and her husband died. So it was a son and the whole family. They gathered together and they said, finally, no. He said, no, this can't be. This is one of my favorite scenes. You can't say no and say no. So we had to change the face.
Oh, okay.
No, it's true.
Thank God for digital.
Yeah.
I could tell you many things like that, because imagine in 3 years what happened. But yeah.
Well,
Wow.
if you want to hear Nabil Ayouch,
Sorry?
Did they come to the premiere?
I don't know.
well, if you want to hear Nabil Ayouch say more of these things about Casablanca Beats, come to the screening tomorrow. You'll have another clue. But I have one final question, because this film is very much about education and like this kind of like passing on a love for hip hop and youth. But at the same time, I'm wondering, much of these young people that you see in the film maybe also caught the bulk of making films, because suddenly there's a camera there as well, and you are there directing and working on the film with them. What was it like for them to work so closely with you think, on such a big film?
You know, each time I do a film with non-professional actors, I'm telling them this is only cinema. So this is not going to be your life.
Yeah.
And don't believe that it is life. We're going to spend a moment together. Who wants to continue later? And most of the time they tell me, honestly, I want or I don't want. And in that case, maybe one girl wanted to become an actress, but the rest, they had studies. They were studying, they were like doing hip hop.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. I mean, one girl is continuing right now. That's the one who's dancing
with all the hair. Yeah.
That is amazing for me. And she's continuing dancing also. She's touring everywhere in Europe in the dance companies. And the other ones, they just continue what they were doing. And some of them, I'm very proud to say, well, most of them are sitting in the center, but some of them became hip-hop artists. Like Saeed, Mehdi, yeah, I mean, we created a kind of label to help them and produce their titles, and now they're doing some very good stuff. So hopefully they will continue in that direction.
Fantastic. We should all look out for them on our Spotify and the internet and listen to the music.
Yeah.
But before we do that, please give a very warm applause to Nabil.